Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IS Academy. So today in this session we are going to discuss about a very narrow strip of land that is called as Chicken Neck Corridor. And imagine that a narrow strip of land which is barely 22 kilometers wide that holds the fate of an entire region, a place which is strategically important, and it is so important that any disruption could cut off millions of the rest of the country. And this is India's most vulnerable line, which is called as Chicken Neck Corridor. Ji haan. Now, here is the twist. Now, what is the twist? A new storm is brewing. As you can see here, India must fortify its weakest link, the Chicken Neck Corridor. And this is said by retired Lieutenant General Shekatkar. अब इन्होंने ऐसा क्या कहा? So here is a twist. A new storm is brewing according to him. A retired top army officer, Lieutenant General D.B. Shekatkar, has sounded the alarm recently. Now, it is not just about the fragile geography of this corridor, but it is about the shocking shift in South Asia's political landscape. Now, according to him, according to him, Bangladesh is no longer a friendly neighbor and is now growing closer to China as well as Pakistan, according to him. Now, this actually raises the burning question: is India on the brink of facing a new hostile front right at its doorstep? So, with this, stay with me as I'm going to uncover the high stakes game of the military strategy as well as shifting alliances of Bangladesh with Pakistan and China. Now, this is Chicken Neck Corridor, a corridor that could change the future of India's northeast forever. So, here are some of the views with respect to the retired Lieutenant General D.B. Shekatkar. अब इन्होंने ऐसा क्या कहा? इन्होंने इंडिया की सिक्योरिटी की बात की, इन्होंने बात की कि चिकन नेक कॉरिडोर पर सबसे ज्यादा हमें फोकस करना है, और इसी के साथ ही साथ कि चिकन नेक कॉरिडोर क्यों इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है इंडिया के लिए, तो इन सभी चीजों पर इन्होंने बात की है. सो व्हाट आर दी सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न्स ऑफ चिकन नेक कॉरिडोर? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, सबसे बड़ा जो इशू हमारे सामने आता है, अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम, व्हाट आर दी सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न्स अबाउट चिकन नेक कॉरिडोर? नाउ, Lieutenant General, he calls this chicken neck corridor as a weakest link. जी हाँ. Why it is considered as a weakest link? Because if any trouble comes here, as you can see this, if any trouble comes here in this area, and it could cut off the northeast from the rest of India, and it can cause a disaster. ये पूरा जो northeast है, this could cut off from rest of the India, and this can turn into a disaster. So this, from the perspective of strategic location, this is very important. Apart from this, now why these kind of arguments have been made during this time? The reason here is Bangladesh changed stand. Now, what is the changing stance of Bangladesh? Now, Bangladesh changing stance here is, as we can understand, that Bangladesh is no longer a friendly neighbor. Why? Because of oust of Sheikh Hasina, and during the time period of Sheikh Hasina, India and Bangladesh relations were cordial. Now, the current Bangladeshi government, which is under the control of Muhammad Yunus, is getting closer to Pakistan as well as China. And because of this, India needs to strengthen its India, और यू कैन से इंडिया बांग्लादेश बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी. इंडिया को अपनी सिक्योरिटी पर काम करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि ये इस समय सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है, ऐसा कहा है रिटायर्ड आर्मी जनरल ने, लेफ्टिनेंट ने. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, देयर आर डेमोग्राफिक चेंजेस as well as infiltration. Whenever any trouble occurs in Bangladesh, the most important that issue that come into the picture is infiltration. That resulted into the demographic changes. Now, how? Now, with this, the demography of chicken neck corridor has changed due to Bangladeshi infiltration over the years. And this infiltration we have already seen since 1971 when Bangladesh liberation war was going on. Since then itself, this infiltration started. Now, that is why it is said that India's enemies, India के जो enemies हैं, वो यूज कर सकते हैं बांग्लादेश को और इन इन्फिल्ट्रेटर्स को to create the problem in chicken neck corridor area. That is why he warned that India's enemies might use these infiltrators to create the problem in northeastern area. Apart from this, so what are the things that we need? The first important thing here is we need stronger border controls. अब सबसे important है stronger border control. That is why he urges that the border security force, that is BSF, to be ruthless with the infiltrators. That with infiltrators, border security force should be ruthless. And according to him, Assam government is becoming tougher on this issue. तो gradually Assam government का जो हेमंत बिस्व शर्मा की जो गवर्नमेंट है, इनका जो स्टैंड है वो काफी ज्यादा, याद रखिएगा कि स्ट्रिक्ट हो रहा है. So he urges that BSF to be ruthless with the infiltrators, and he also said that Assam government is becoming tougher on the issue of foreigners. But border states must work together. So the states which are surrounded, which are in the surrounding of Bangladesh, all these states should work together for national security because that is important. So national security के लिए सभी जितने भी bordering states हैं बांग्लादेश से, उन सभी को साथ में मिलकर काम करना होगा, because this is the question of national security of India. Now, apart from this, how the relations of Indian neighbors, India's relationship with its neighbors, especially Pakistan, Bangladesh, China. These are three important neighbors. So India now has three hostile neighbors. अब India के तीन hostile neighbors हैं. There are three hostile neighbors. One is Bangladesh, China is already there, and Pakistan. Now India has three hostile neighbors. That is why India should build better ties with other neighboring countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka. So India should build good ties with the other neighboring countries, Nepal, Bhutan and Sri Lanka. That is why Maldives has recently softened its stand after some tension, and gradually Maldives started moving closer to India also. So gradually Maldives started moving closer to India again because there were some tensions. Apart from this, what are the historical perspectives? So let's try to understand what are the historical perspectives. Now, with respect to this, when we talk about historical perspective, so the most important thing that I would like to tell you here is that Lieutenant General Shekatkar, he fought in 1971 war, that is Bangladesh Liberation War. That is why he is more emotional and strategic towards India's relations with Bangladesh, as well as he is concerned about chicken neck corridor. So Lieutenant General Shekatkar fought in 1971 war, and he said that many young people in Bangladesh, they have forgotten the India's role in their liberation. तो हमें जरूरत है उनको याद दिलाने की. And he also suggests that India should subtly remind Bangladesh that how it helped them in gaining independence in 1971. So overall, if you see, so Lieutenant General Shekatkar is pushing for stronger security along the India-Bangladesh border, especially near the chicken neck corridor. That is very important. And that is why he warned that Bangladesh shifting alliance, it poses a risk of India's national security. So that we can understand, because there are various risks with respect to India's national security. Because around 1 month ago, there was a meeting of Bangladeshi military officials with ISI. And the delegation of ISI, that is Intelligence Agency of Pakistan, visited Bangladesh, and they resided in Radisson Blue Hotel in Dhaka. So what are the implications? What are the implications of all these things? So these implications remarks the touch on several strategic, political, diplomatic areas also. So the first, as you can see here, this article was there in the newspaper. Like army chief, he talked about he was concerned over Pakistan army and ISI presence in Bangladesh. So there was one news article. So as you can see here, India's army chief General Upendra Dwivedi, he stated that he is concerned about the presence of Pakistan army and ISI officials in Bangladesh, and these areas are close to India's chicken neck corridor. Now, so the first implication we can understand here is strategic and security implications. So first implication can be strategic and security implication. Now strategic and security implication. How? Because increased militarization of the chicken neck corridor. If the area is indeed seen as a weakest link or weak link, India may more deploy troops and surveillance system, border infrastructure to prevent these disruptions. Apart from this, we need tighter border control. Now, that is why there is a call for a ruthless BSF approach that could lead to a strict border management, which affects the cross-border movement as well as trade. So, that is why, as we can see here, that General Dwivedi, he said that they must make sure that those anti-India elements must not be able to use chicken neck corridor, that is use that soil is related to chicken neck corridor to send terrorists to India. That should not be used. Apart from this, so recent Pakistan army and ISI officials who visited in these sensitive areas near the Indian border, that is near to chicken neck corridor, in Bangladesh, so when they have asked, so he was like, this can be considered as a strategic, you can say, risk for India's northeastern states. As you can see these images, that ISI officials visited Bangladesh, that is those areas which is near to Indian border. That is why the most important thing, तो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज कोट किया हमारे आर्मी चीफ ने, और उन्होंने एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल दिया कि एक मूवी है देवानंद जी की, एंड उन्होंने बोला कि नारायण जी ने इस बुक को लिखा था, डू यू रिमेंबर व्हेन देवानंद जी बिकेम साधु इन द लास्ट। नाउ अब इन्होंने कहा कि अ मैड मैन वेंट एंड अनाउंस दैट ही विल नॉट हैव फूड अंटिल इट रेन्ड। अब पाकिस्तान आर्मी को इस एग्जांपल के थ्रू कोट करते हुए कहा, क्या कहा, दैट पाकिस्तान आर्मी वन सेड दैट वी हैव टू डू दिस, now they don't have a way out of it, that means they will continue to go for it. And look, Kashmir, so Kashmir is not the only issue. This is point number one. And second thing is, if you read the book Revenge of Geography, ये किसने लिखी है, रॉबर्ट कैपलान ने। तो रॉबर्ट कैपलान ने अपनी इस बुक में लिखा हुआ है दैट बोथ साइड्स ऑफ इंडस कैन दे बी वन, there is a big question that we have to see. That is why इन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान एजेंडा इज नॉट जस्ट लिमिटेड टू कश्मीर ओनली। पाकिस्तान का एजेंडा क्या है, that they should fuel anti-India elements, anti-India stand. So what can be implications? So the first thing that we need here is tight border control, tighter border control. This is very important because that is why there is a call for a ruthless BSF approach that can lead to the stricter border management, and that can affect cross-border movement as well as trade. Another important thing is risk of insurgency. Risk of insurgency. Now the thing here is how risk of insurgency. So there is a risk of insurgency in the northeastern area. Arms are provided by whom? ISI and China. So if infiltration claims are true, then it can raise a concern that hostile actors might use illegal immigrants or sympathetic elements to stir the unrest in the Chicken Neck Corridor region. And apart from this, there are diplomatic implications as well. Now, how diplomatic implications are there? Like the first important thing is strained India-Bangladesh relations. Ji haan. So, calling Bangladesh hostile and linking its government to China and Pakistan could worsen the diplomatic ties. So, such statement might provoke a reaction from Dhaka, further complicating the bilateral relations. Apart from this, regional alliances, now India may intensify its outreach to Bhutan, Nepal, as well as other countries like Maldives to counterbalance the influence of China as well as Pakistan. Now, apart from this, what are the domestic political implications? What are the domestic political implications? Now border state politics here plays very important role. अब कैसे border state politics important role play करती है? So let me tell you that border state politics like Assam and other northeastern states, they might see increased political focus on the border security as well as illegal immigration. And these things potentially stoking the nationalist or you can say anti-immigrant sentiment. Apart from this, communal tensions. Communal tensions. Now, the emphasis on Bangladeshi infiltrators could also fuel the communal rhetoric, and especially in the states of Assam as well as West Bengal, where the issue of foreigner is already sensitive. And then economic implications. Now, economic implications can also be there. Now, how economic implications? This can disrupt the cross-border trade because tighter borders may affect trade and commerce with Bangladesh, which is one of the India's largest trading partner in the region. And apart from this, investment climate. Now, the rising tension might deter the regional infrastructure projects or you can say connectivity. All these initiatives like India Bangladesh friendship pipeline or cross border rail links, these things can also impact. And last but not least, we can say historical and cultural implications can also be there. Historical and cultural. Now, historical and cultural implications can also be there. Now, how historical and cultural implications? Like there is a shift in narrative. The suggestion that young Bangladesh have forgotten India's role in their independence, in their liberation of 1971, and it could push India to reassert its historical narrative and risking further alienation of Bangladeshi youth. Apart from that, people to people ties. Now, if harsh border controls are there, that could also affect the cultural exchanges as well as familial ties across the border. In this way, isolating communities with cross-border routes. So overall, if you see these things, if there is e-code in policy, it could harden India's stand towards the Bangladesh. It can boost military presence in the sensitive regions like Chicken Neck Corridor, as well as shift in regional diplomacy to counter China's and Pakistan influence, but at the risk of escalating tensions with Dhaka. So overall, if you see these things, the Chicken Neck Corridor is not just, you can say, a geographical bottleneck. It is a ticking time bomb right now, because with Bangladesh seemingly tilting towards India's rivals like China as well as Pakistan, so the stakes have never been the higher. But here is the real question, and the question here is that is this a genuine threat to India's national security or a strategic narrative to justify stronger border policies as well as regional dominance? What happens next? What could redefine the South Asia's power dynamics? What do you think? Is Bangladesh truly shifting sides, or is this just part of a larger geopolitical chessboard? So drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel, that is Legacy Eyes Academy. Thank you so much.